Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, the importance of sharing the shore.
There's definitely enough beach to go around and for us to share it.
How humans can do their part along suncoast beaches to help these birds stand a chance at survival. Plus, we meet an unlikely hero, how a cow named Red saved an entire herd. And it's citizen science time. Find out how you can help the Everglades from the comfort of your computer. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. Raising a family on the beach may sound like a dream come true, but if you're a shorebird, it can be filled with many challenges. From red tide and hurricanes to beach balls and man's best friend, there are a lot of things that can threaten the survival of the species when they're nesting. With summer just around the corner, hundreds of black skimmers and least terns are descending upon the shores of Lido Beach in Sarasota County for their annual nesting season. So it's all hands on deck for those who work to protect these birds.
We are on the public beach of Lido Key, and we are heading out to the just formed black skimmer colony. And so they have chosen this site to start doing their breeding behaviors, pairing up, and hopefully very soon start laying their eggs. I am so excited when I walk out onto the beach. I see the skimmers grouped together and they look very undisturbed within this protected area that we've given them. The black skimmer colony has been on Lido Key since 2015, and we have so many people to thank for not just the skimmers being able to establish their colony on Lido Key, but to also grow in numbers. What's actually great is that these birds have a pretty decent site fidelity. So that means that each year, these skimmers will come back to the same general area of the beach. Sure enough, they're doing all of the breeding behaviors that you would expect a skimmer to do at their chosen breeding site. And we said, all right, it's time to put up signs and rope, not to keep the birds in. We can't tell the birds what to do. It's just to ensure people give them enough space and stay out of the colony so we don't have anyone accidentally step on eggs or chicks when that time comes. If a person goes in, or a dog, or even beach toys, the birds can flush up. And so when there are eggs or even chicks, that leaves those eggs and chicks vulnerable when their parents aren't around. So eggs that are left exposed to the sun can cook within just a few minutes. Chicks that are left exposed to the sun and then predators can be picked off within just a few minutes. Crows are very smart, and crows are predators to our nesting birds. So what we have done, and last year, I hope you noticed there aren't any crows, right? So we tried a little experiment last year and it worked. And this year at this site, we're trying it again, where we take what's called an effigy and we put it up for the crows to see. So crows can recognize dead crows or injured crows. And when they see a dead crow in an area, it's kind of like an alarm. And so they'll pass that information on to their family groups and let their families know this is not a safe area. This effigy is a fake crow, so it's just a prop. As soon as we put them out, the crows were very upset. They started doing distress calls. They went and told their family. their family came out and they were checking it out and kind of circling around the effigy, and we haven't seen them since. So black skimmers are actually listed as imperiled or threatened here in the state of Florida. And so this means that their numbers were just very low. And so we are partnered with Florida Fish and Wildlife to essentially grow those numbers so that we can bump up the population count. But right now, they are just up against so many threats. When you're on a big public beach like this, it's really hard to be successful without the support of shorebird staff, volunteer bird stewards, to be able to educate the public. Now we are coming out to South Lido Beach, just off of Ted Sperling Park. And now we're gonna be coming out here and looking at another beach nesting bird species, the least tern. And these are very small terns. There are a couple diving in this little pool here. We'll see way more of them, and we'll hear them as we get closer. But they're another imperiled species, just like the black skimmer. They're much smaller. They're our smallest tern. They breed from April to mid-August, so they get started a little bit earlier than our skimmers do. They are very feisty. Least terns still nest in colonies, but each pair is a little bit more spread out, and they give each other a little bit more room to nest. The least terns have moved around from beach to beach, and actually it's very lucky that we have this colony here. Almost 50% of Florida's breeding least terns actually nest on gravel rooftops. The fact that we get to have a colony nesting in their, in natural habitat is really, really exciting. But we have over 100 least terns in this colony. So I don't know what it is, but something is bothering them. I don't know what. Again, crows are a big predator for least terns as well. Okay, see that crow just, no!
He got an egg. He got something.
Well, he got an egg. That's why. Okay, shoot. He got an egg. So what we'll probably do is put some of those effigies out here now.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yikes. Come get them. Yeah. Get them. Get them. See, look at that. They're going after him. Yeah, crows are way too smart.
Let's really grab him there.
There he is, coming back. So, as I mentioned, crows are really big predators for our beach nesting birds. Crows will come in and steal eggs from the least terns, the black skimmers. But with least terns, they can be really feisty and aggressive towards predators, and they will kind of team up as a colony and dive bomb those predators. So they were just dive bombing that crow to try to get it to leave their colony, their nesting site, because it just stole an egg and came back for more. So the terns are a bit upset and are trying to keep that crow away. Poor things.
You do feel bad.
I do. They're trying their best. They really are trying their best. And he's still over there messing with the skimmers. I know that it can seem like the birds are taking up a lot of beach because so much of the beach is closed, but it's for them to be able to lay eggs, raise chicks, and survive essentially as a species. These birds add value to our beaches. A lot of people do come to the beach to not only see the beautiful blue waters, the soft sand, but also the wildlife. If we didn't have these nesting birds on the beach, we would completely lose the value of our beaches.
For more information on the projects underway to protect these birds, you can go to fl.audubon.org/coast. Sea turtle nesting season is once again upon us here in Florida. It officially starts each year on May 1st, but volunteers with the Anna Maria Island Turtle Watch got a bit of an early surprise. They discovered their first loggerhead nest. In preparation for an eventful season, here are some of the do's and don'ts they are sharing for turtle season. Do shield or turn off outdoor lights that are visible on the beach and close drapes after dark. Remove all beach furniture and toys from the beach at night. Fill in holes and knock down sandcastles that may impede hatchlings on their way to the water. Place trash in its proper place. Keep your distance from posted nest sites. If you encounter a nesting turtle, remain quiet and observe from a distance. Notify local law enforcement if you see anyone disturbing a turtle, hatchlings, or nest site. Do not encourage a turtle to move while nesting or pick up hatchlings that have emerged. Do not use fireworks on the beach. Approach nesting turtles or emerging hatchlings, make noise, or shine lights at turtles. For more information on ways to help protect sea turtles, please visit islandturtlewatch.com. And another early surprise came a little south of the Suncoast, this one in Sanibel. Officials reporting their first sea turtle nest of the season as well. But this one was laid by a leatherback, the largest turtle species on the planet. Members of the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation say this is the first leatherback nest on Sanibel or Captiva in 4 years, so you can imagine the excitement. And as you can see from the photos, it wasn't hard for their team to recognize the turtle track in the sand. This species can grow to an average of 6 feet long and weigh between 5 to 1,500 pounds. Coming up next on Animal Outtakes, we meet Red. Hear how this peppermint-loving cracker cattle saved an entire herd. It's all after the break.
Good morning, Mr. Benson. Your breakfast is served.
Time for another day in doggy paradise. I sure am one lucky pup.
Mr. Benson, would you like to go out for your morning stroll? The weather is quite lovely today.
That sounds wonderful. Don't mind if I do. After all that exercise, I think I'd like to lounge by the pool and maybe dip my paws in.
As you wish, sir. Right this way.
What a perfect day. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else but Dante's Den while Mom and Dad are away.
At Dante's Den, we pride ourselves in providing the best experience for your beloved pup. Whether it be a day, a month, or a year, Dante's Den should always be at the top of your list for boarding. With an expansive campus, your dog will enjoy daily walks, pool time, and an endless supply of love. Even better, it's all under 24/7 supervision from our wonderful staff. If you're anything like us, your dog's safety and happiness come first. To learn more about Dante's Den, visit dantesden.org.
Welcome back. As we enter another hurricane season here in Florida, we all know the drill, or at least we should know it. And brushing up on our supplies and our evacuation plan is a must. Being prepared can be half the battle for us humans. And if you have animals, that's another challenge. After spending time at the Crowley Museum and Nature Center, we recently learned about cracker cattle, their significance to our state, and what makes them special. But what we want to share now is a story about an unlikely hero. Her name is Red.
Red is an almost 6-year-old Florida cracker cow. She's extremely special. She's my favorite and the public loves her, and she's very intelligent. Red had a very rough start to her life, and she was very ill for a very long time. And we nursed her, and she saw several veterinarians until we got some answers. And using conventional and holistic medicine, we were able to save her when otherwise she would have been euthanized, humanely euthanized. And it turned out that it was meant to be. Right before Hurricane Ian, we just had a feeling, a lot of us out here, that this was perhaps going to be worse than we were anticipating. And the rain was falling so hard and there was so much stress. This was right before the storm hit. And I could not get my cattle to come out from where they were. As a general rule, when a hurricane's coming, we let them out and let them free range. They'll know where to go. But where they went, I just had this sinking feeling in my stomach. And no matter what we tried to do, we couldn't drive the herd out of that area. They wouldn't cross a creek because of the scent of alligators, and that we had active alligators in there, but I was sure they weren't in there. And as time passed and the weather was increasing in its severity, I realized that it was a do or die type of thing to get them out. They weren't following feed, they weren't responding to anything. They weren't responding to the cracking of whips or being driven or any of the stuff that they normally readily respond to. And that's when I relied on Red. I used to, when she was a baby, because she was immobile, she was unable to stand for quite a long time, and I used to pet her and sing silly songs to her and force feed her, you know, trying to encourage her to get up and to live. And for some reason, it just came to my mind, start singing her song. It was a song my grandma used to sing. And I waded out into that creek, that Blackwater Creek, and I started singing, and her head poked up. And probably the song is an association with food, but who knows? And slowly but surely, she started to walk into me to the water, and the rest of the herd started to follow her. And I, of course, started to cry because, you know, at that point in time, I was like, oh, wait, you know, maybe we're going to get them out. So I brought her up to a certain point, and then they all stopped again, and we couldn't get them to move again. So I came up and I started getting all the buildings ready for the hurricane and went down and yelled her name a few times. And then here she came, driving the rest of all of the herd up. She went right into the field where she was supposed to be. We locked the gates. I loved on her for a second, you know, told her that I'd see her on the other side of the storm, and I did. We did not lose a single cow to that storm, and we were one of the only farms that didn't. So if Red hadn't done what she did, if she hadn't followed me out the way that she had, we would have lost our entire herd in Hurricane Ian. Red is almost 6 years old. She was a little frail when she was born. She is a rescue animal. We adopted her, and she just had a failure to thrive. She was a smaller calf, and then she had a bit of a rally, and then she got really, really sick. And two veterinarians couldn't quite get to the bottom of it. Finally, a third did. And we started treating her for several different things. And we started using milk thistle to help her liver. And slowly but surely, she started rallying back. It took several months, and the work of several of the people on my staff, as well as myself, getting her back up where she was going again. We had been advised several times to euthanize her. She was very, very thin and very, very weak, but there was just something about her. And 6 years later, here she is. The other thing that we did not know is when we moved Red is she's always been around the bull. She's always been with the cows because that's what makes her happiest. And we did not know. And a couple months later, she showed us that she had a surprise, and she had her first calf, and her first calf's name is Scarlet. So there was just, the whole thing was just such a wonderful story amidst the absolute devastation and wreckage that we had here, like so many due to Hurricane Ian.
What a story. So much so that it's currently being turned into a children's book. If you'd ever want to meet Red, you can tour the Crowley Museum and Nature Center. Just go to crowleyfl.org. Stick around, there's more Animal Outtakes coming up next. If you love the Everglades and you've always wanted a chance to be a part of something bigger, here's a great opportunity. Officials say the Everglades is a big place, and it can be tough to create and analyze reliable data about its wide variety of wildlife. And that's where you come in. The Everglades Wildlife Watch is a brand new FWC volunteer program, and it's based in South Florida, hosted on something called the Zooniverse platform. The point of it all? To improve their understanding of wildlife patterns on the FWC's Wildlife Management Area System. They say this venture combines in-the-field volunteering with online participation. They're hoping the results will provide a better idea of the species they call South Florida home. So in the region's 17 areas, volunteers are setting up trail cameras. And then photos from those cameras are uploaded online. And the cool part? Anyone can jump online and classify these photos. The process appears pretty easy. Just follow the link, create a free account, and start identifying the wildlife in the photos from your own home. And there's no pressure to be perfect, FWC says. If you get one wrong, don't sweat it. Your identifications will be combined with others to give us the most accurate picture of wildlife activity in those areas. Once photos are analyzed and the wildlife has been identified, the data is sent to biologists so they can better manage each area. And you'll also be able to see the results online on an interactive dashboard. Now, if this sounds like something you think you could help with, zooniverse.org and search for the Everglades projects. We'll be right back.
Animal Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org.
We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. And we'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching.